In this video, you learn how to find the midpoint in a given line segment. A midpoint is the point that lies exactly halfway between 2 points. Let's say this line, A and B, the point that lies halfway between these two is what we call the midpoint. In order to be able to solve more challenging problems on this concept, it is relevant that you already know how to solve equations with fractions. For example, if you are given x minus 5 all over 2 equal to -3, let's see the solution to this problem. You can solve this by multiplying both sides by the denominator, which is 2, or you solve it by using the method of cross multiplication. So I'll choose to multiply both sides by 2 to cancel out the denominator. So this cancels out and becomes x minus 5 equal to -6. To make x the subject, then I send -5 across the equal sign. It becomes x equal to -6 plus 5, which is equal to -1. It is important to know how to solve equations like this because you may be given point A and this midpoint, then you are asked to determine this point B. It will result in equations similar to the one that I just solved. Now let's learn how to find the midpoint. In general, given the point A, x1, y1, and B, x2, y2, to find the midpoint, we find the average of the x coordinates and the average of the y coordinates. This implies that M is generally used to denote midpoint. So mx means that the x coordinates of the midpoint. And we obtain this by adding the x coordinates of the 2 points. So x1 plus x2 over 2. And to obtain the y coordinates at the midpoint, we find the average of the y coordinates of the 2 points. So y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Generally, the formula for finding midpoint of a given line segment, MAB, this means that M is used to denote the midpoint of the line AB is equal to, into brackets, x1 plus x2 all over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 all over 2. Now let's look at some examples on how to calculate midpoint. Example 1, we are asked to calculate the midpoint of point A, -2, 3, and B, 4, 8. To start solving this problem, we first have to quote the formula for finding midpoint. Midpoint is equal to the average of the x coordinates all over 2. So this x1 plus x2 all over 2, y1 plus y2 all over 2. So I go on to label my coordinates. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. I substitute them into the midpoint formula, and midpoint is equal to, into brackets, -2 plus 4 all over 2, comma. The y coordinates, we have 3 plus 8 all over 2, and I close my bracket. This is equal to -2 plus 4 is 2 all over 2, and 3 plus 8 is 11, so comma 11 all over 2. Depending on how you are asked to leave your answers, this can be left as a fraction as 1, 11 over 2, or is the same as 1, 5.5. So it means that this is our midpoint. So we can write it as M into brackets 1, 5.5. Let's look at the next example. In this example, we are asked to find the midpoint of P, -2 for and Q for -2. If you want to work as a pro, you know that midpoint is simply adding the x coordinates and dividing by 2 and adding the y coordinates and dividing by 2. So you can just do -2 plus 4 all over 2, comma, that is this plus this, comma, then the sum, the average of the y coordinates, which is going to be 4, plus -2 all over 2. So you have to be careful here. 4 plus -2 all over 2. So close the bracket. This is equal to -2 plus 4 is 2 all over 2, comma. 4 minus 2 is also 2 all over 2. You close your bracket, and this is equal to 1, 1. So it means that the midpoint we are looking for is 1, 1. But if you still want to work as a beginner, then you can state your midpoint formula. M equal to x1 plus x2 all over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 all over 2. Then you go on to label your coordinates x1, comma, y1, x2, comma, y2. Then you substitute them into the formula. Then you know your x1 is -2. So -2 plus your x2 is 4 all over 2, comma, y1 is 4. So 4 plus your y2 is -2. So -2 all over 2. Then you close your bracket. So we have the same thing here. And when you simplify, you get your answer. Example 3. In this example, we are given the midpoint and we are asked to find the point B, which is x, y, meaning that we are given one point and the midpoint and asked to find the other point. So what we do is that we use the midpoint formula that M is equal to x1 plus x2 all over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 all over 2. We close our brackets. Now we substitute this into our midpoint formula. The midpoint is 1, -3, and this is equal to, so I'll still label my point. So let's say this is x1, y1, this is x2, y2. So I come here, my x1 is known, so I put 3 there. X1 is 3, plus x2 is not known, so I write x2, or you can just write x in this case, all over 2, comma, my y1 is known as 1, plus my y2 is not known. Y2 is not known, all over 2. So here, you compare the coordinates. So the x coordinate here is supposed to be the same as the x coordinate here. So it means that 1 is supposed to be the same as 3 plus x2 all over 2. And when we solve this by multiplying both sides by the denominator, which is 2, then we have 1 times 2 is 2 equal to 3 plus x2. So we make x2 the subject by sending 3 across the equal sign. So it becomes 2 minus 3 equal to x2, meaning that -1 is equal to x2. So we have to also find the y coordinate by comparing the expression we have here with the value given in the midpoint. So -3 is equal to 1 plus y2 all over 2. To get rid of the fraction, we multiply both sides by 2 because there's 2 at the denominator. So I multiply it by 2 and multiply this side by 2. So -6 is equal to, this cancels this, 1 plus y2. We send 1 across the equal sign, it becomes -6 minus 1 equal to y2, meaning -7 is equal to y2. So we now know our y2 and our x2. X2 is -1, and our y2 is -7. It means that point B has been found. So point B is -1, -7. Let's look at another example. The question states that point T is for -3, which is the midpoint of the line segment AB. Given B, -2, 3, we are asked to find the coordinates of point A. So it means that we don't know the coordinates of point A. So we can say that B, let's label our coordinates as x1, x1, y1. So we don't know A. So coordinates of A, so in this case, we can say x2, y2, or you can just say x and y. So when we substitute this into the midpoint formula, which is given by x1 plus x2 all over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 all over 2, then we'll obtain m to be equal to -2 plus -2 is x1. We don't know x2, so plus x2 all over 2, comma, y1 is 3, so 3 plus y2, we don't know y2, all over 2. But in this question, we are given the midpoint. So we are told that the midpoint is 4, 3. So we can write that 4, -3 is equal to -2 plus x2 all over 2, comma, 3 plus y2 all over 2. So we have to now compare the coordinates and solve for the values of x2 and y2. So if we take the x coordinates, then 4 should be equal to this expression. So 4 is equal to -2 plus x2 all over 2. So we can get rid of the fraction by multiplying both sides by 2, because we want to get rid of this denominator. So if we do that, then 2 times 4 is 8, equal to -2 plus x2. To make x2 stand alone, we send -2 across the equal sign, then 8 plus 2 is equal to x2. This implies that x2 is equal to 10. So similarly, we can find the y coordinate by comparing them. So -3 should be equal to 3 plus y2 all over 2. So if you multiply both sides by 2, then -6 is equal to 3 plus y2. To make y2 stand alone, we send 3 across the equal sign. So it becomes -6 minus 3 equal to y2. -6 minus 3 is -9. So equal to y2. This means that we found the coordinates of point A, which is x2. So we have 10, comma, and y2, which is -9. So it means that the coordinates of point A will be 10, -9.